Hundreds of scholars say US is swiftly heading toward authoritarianism. A survey of more than 500 political scientists finds that the vast majority think the United States is moving swiftly from liberal democracy towards some form of authoritarianism. In the benchmark survey, known as Bright Line Watch, US-based professors rate the performance of American democracy on a scale from 0 complete dictatorship to 100 perfect democracy. After President Trump's election in November, scholars gave American democracy a rating of 67, several weeks into Trump's second term. That figure plummeted to 55. That's a precipitous drop, says John Carey, a professor of government at Dartmouth and co-director of Bright Line Watch. There's certainly consensus. We're moving in the wrong direction. Carey said the decline between November and February was the biggest since Bright Line Watch began surveying scholars on threats to American democracy. In 2017, in the survey, respondents consider 30 indicators of democratic performance, including whether the government interferes with the press, punishes political opponents, and whether the legislature and the judiciary can check executive authority. Not all political scientists view Trump with alarm, but many like Carey who focus on democracy and authoritarianism are deeply troubled by Trump's attempts to expand executive power over his first several months in office. We've slid into some form of authoritarianism, says Stephen Levitsky, a professor of government at Harvard and co-author of How Democracies Die. It is relatively mild compared to some others. It is certainly reversible, but we are no longer living in a liberal democracy. Kim Lane-Sheppel, a Princeton sociologist who has spent years tracking Hungary, is also deeply concerned. We are on a very fast slide into what's called competitive authoritarianism. When these scholars use the term authoritarianism, they aren't talking about a system like China's, a one-party state with no meaningful elections. Instead, they are referring to something called competitive authoritarianism, the kind scholars say they see in countries such as Hungary and Turkey. In a competitive authoritarian system, a leader comes to power democratically, and then erodes the system of checks and balances. Typically, the executive fills the civil service and key appointments, including the prosecutor's office and judiciary, with loyalists. He or she then attacks the media, universities, and non-governmental organizations to blunt public criticism and tilt the electoral playing field in the ruling party's favor. The government would still have elections and would nominally be democratic, says Rory Truex, a political scientist at Princeton who focuses on China. But those elections would no longer be free and fair. While the vast majority of scholars surveyed say Trump is pushing the country toward autocracy, other professors strongly disagree.